Hey there, I wanted to pop by and say if you want to watch the live stream that I just did, I just taught a class, it was pure content, about how movies are very much like branding, and that understanding the formula within a box office hit, how to become so clear in your message that you literally, hi Mark, I just saw you on the other side. Mark watched my class. I just taught a class, it was pure content, about, hi Deborah. Deborah, why weren't you listening tonight? Because you're playing around on Facebook and other ways. You're gonna have to go back in, Deborah, and watch what I talked about. I talked about how movies and branding are very similar, and that there are box office hits and there are not, and that the difference between, and that every movie, every smash box office hit has a formula in it, and we can use that formula for our branding, because basically they put those movies together the way that they do to hook us in the first 15 to 20 minutes. And it's really important that we do that, because when you say you want to make $10,000, $20,000 a month and more, and you want a $500,000 business or $1 million business, $1 million a year business, you've got to really hone in on what your message is, because quite frankly, business is really one of the only ways. I mean, there's real estate, but that's kind of business, right? There's really only a few ways to make a lot of money in this world, and legally. And when you know your messaging, when you have a business, and a business is one of the most lucrative ways to get to your income goals, you know, your big money goals. So when I help clients hone in on what their message is and teach them how to project that out on video and how to put that in writing, because like I said tonight, and by the way, you can go see the video legally. Deborah, you and I are like, you're funny. But you can go to Get Moxie, Make More Money and see the live stream. Or it's not live anymore, obviously, but it's in there. And I went over the elements and the formula within a box office hit, and how the brain works, and how the brain is basically walks around confused and in survival mode and thriving mode, and looking to process information to keep us either safe or to help us thrive. And if, with that being said, and the reason I share that is because if we are all walking around, you know, looking for clarification on everything to make a decision, you know, whether we're going to give it our time, you've got to be very clear with your message, right? Because every box office hit, every really powerful message and branding and successful business has mastered that. They've mastered that. And so if you were to look at what happened with Apple and how they put their 7-page ad, that was one of their first. So when they first started out, you know, they have this fantastic computer that they wanted to sell, and they came up with a 7-page ad, and I think it was in the New York Times they put it in, and it failed. And it failed for a good reason, because it was complicated. Complicated never sells. Confused never buys. Okay, so what do? I help people with their branding make more money, get more clients. Make more money, get more clients. And so what Apple did was they switched up their branding, and they went from 7-page ad that confused everybody, and they redid everything, and they came up with 2 words. So what can you do? What do you do for your customers? And can you narrow it down to a few words? So what did Apple do? They changed their 7-page ad to 2 words. And the 2 words were put all over the place, and we still know what they are today, right? Think different. Okay, so isn't that amazing? So just clarification and making sure that you know what your clients want first, or your prospects and your clients want, and then making sure that they know that you can get them there is the answer. So what is that formula? Well, there seems to be a lot of pieces to that, right? There's really not. There's really not. You just need to say it in a very simple way. You don't even need to tell them that the journey of you taking them there has 100 steps in it. They don't need to know that, because that's going to overwhelm them, right? But what you do need is to help them understand that you have the formula. That you have to help them understand that you can take them where they want to go, where you can take them on this journey, okay? So in this live stream that I did in the group, Get Moxie, Make More Money, if you want to join, let me know. or you can find it and you can join it and I can add you, and you can watch the video. But I talked for an hour about the formula that we see in the movie Star Wars, and every smash box office hit has a formula within it. And that formula that's in that movie that everybody falls in love with and gets hooked on can be put in your business in terms of the message. Okay, so break it down, make it simple, do not overcomplicate it, and make sure that people know that you have the answer in the formula, okay, and the signature product, same thing, formula, signature product, you got the answer, where is it, okay? So they need to know where to go to buy it after you tell them that you have it, right? So if everybody is walking around thinking, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, just as a human condition, that tells you something, right? You need to tell them in very plain, simple terms what it is that you sell and what's in it for them if they buy it. Okay, and that means that you've got to take them, you've got to show them. Okay, so when I say show them, I mean give them a vision of what their life is going to be like if they buy your product, if they buy your program, if they buy your product. Let them know what the vision is, or what their life is going to be like and how it's going to transform. So one of the things I like to say is, well, how is $10 or an extra $10 or $20,000 going to change your life? And people can process that. That's pretty simple. How would an extra $10 or $20,000 a month change your life? People can process that. How would an extra $100,000 a month change your life? Right? That's giving them a vision. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to travel? Are you going to buy a Mercedes? Are you going to put your kids in private school? Okay, so people can process easy things and start to see it in their life, but you've got to help them do that. Another thing that I talked about was the characters in a story. They'll attract cute puppies. That's amazing. I want that formula, Deborah. Okay, but yeah, they will, like, what is it, Deborah? That, by the way, your new package, are we rewriting it? Did you come up with what you're going to do tomorrow at your... I don't know. If you email it to me, I'd like to see it. I can't promise I'm going to stay up all night rewriting it, but I think this new plan that we came up with is going to be a killer in a good way. Right? We've got to package it and promote it, yes, but we also have to make sure that they know in a very simple way where it is you're taking them and the outcome they're going to get, and help them vision that. If they've never been, skinny, help them vision that. If they have and they've gained weight, help them see what it, help remind them what it was like and what it was like for them to have more energy, right? Don't lead with the puppies, Deborah. Don't lead with the puppies. Puppies, I've got one right here and he's driving me nuts. Frankly, he is. He's been hounding me, and he does this thing where he looks at me like intently to try to get my attention. It cracks me up. But anyway, it's distracting. We do not need to distract our audience. That is the last thing that we want to do. So I used a couple of different movies tonight as examples, and then I started talking, Deborah, I don't know if you're still here, but I was talking about, I hadn't planned on it, but I started talking about the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. He actually is just sitting here. I don't know what you're hearing, but he's actually, yeah, but you've heard that before, him walking around on the wood floor. But I talked about What Dreams May Come, and What Dreams May Come is a perfect example because there were guides in the movie, if you watched it. There were guides in the movie that took Robin Williams to where he wanted to go. And so I talked about that, and that every movie has a guide. Okay, so Yoda in Star Wars, he was a guide. There's always a villain that keeps the protagonist from getting what they want, right? It's like an external problem that keeps the protagonist from getting what they want. So what you have to do, and what I taught in this video is, like, think about what it is that is keeping your protagonist, which is your prospect or your client, from getting what they want. They think it's the external piece. They think it's the external problem, or, they think it's the Joker, or they think it's Darth Vader, or they think it's something else. But it's your job to tell them and to explain to them that it's an internal force. So you're going to help them change from the inside out. And then once they see that you have the formula for that, it doesn't mean complicate them, but with all the steps, because again, the brain will shut down. The brain shuts down and it can't make a decision and it can't understand how what you have can help them. So it won't actually make the decision to say yes. So you have to make it really simple. And of course, those bonuses make it simple, right? When I teach how to put your 24-hour action bonus sheet together in the PDF and then the sales page, and we transform it into a sales page. All of those have those pieces incorporated into it. But what are you going to say on video? Like, what's going to come out of your mouth? It's one of those things that is people don't really give much thought to, and they get on camera and they start talking and getting in front of people, and that consistency really does help. It is. It's fantastic and it helps. But what are you saying when you're getting in front of them consistently? Are you consistently confusing them? Are you consistently distracting them? Are they watching your video simply because you're entertaining and that you're cute? Are they watching your video because you've got some answers and they've been needing some answers and you're going to be the guide that takes them? Okay, are you going to be the Yoda? Okay, so what? And then tell them that you know what their external, what they think is the problem. You know, go ahead and tell them, because that is convincing them that you do know what you're talking about and that you understand them. That's another way to connect. So that's what I talked about tonight. I talked about basically the formula inside a really good movie, how our brains work, and why we like movies, why we like to veg out in front of movies. The Yoda of yoga. Yes, exactly. Yes. But how is it that your formula, because it's not just yoga, it's got some other pieces as well. There are a lot of different steps in your formula, Deborah, that gets them from point A to point B, where they want to be, you know. So they have to know what they want. They have to know what they want, and you have to know what they want. Okay, so a customer that doesn't know what they want isn't going to take, right? Because they're not going to really hear you. So you've got to cut through the clutter, make music, and I don't mean sing, Deborah, make music and not noise. So that's what I talked about too tonight. And the differences are the ways that you can make more music instead of more noise, because we've all got enough noise. And what noise is, and how I explained noise is that noise is simply like white noise. Noise is simply out there all over the place. In fact, it's kind of overdone with regard to marketing. Noise confuses people, and then we tune it out. You can sing. Maybe write out your signature formula, like what it's all about, and then sing it. There you go. There's a jingle, right? Okay, so jingles work. I used to help a guy write them with businesses. Yeah. So jingles work, yes, because they get in your head and they stick, and that is why it's really important for you to reiterate over and over and over what you do and make it simple. I don't know if you heard me, Deborah, when I first started this. I talked about there's an art to jingles. You probably know that. There's an art to that. Definite an art, because it's got to get in there's a whole ear thing going on. I can't remember the name of it. I heard a guy explain it. There's a whole ear thing that it needs to be written in such a certain way that it sticks, okay? And so what I talked about tonight with regard to the formula within the movie that we can use and see that, hey, this works. Here's the thing. Formulas work. Following steps work. People like formulas, and they like to see that you have a step in a signature program, because then they go, okay, I won't have to stay in this confused place anymore. I won't have to try hard to think about what the answer is. I can just buy her formula and her steps, and see, and that is what we actually all want. We want a formula to survive or thrive. Survive or thrive. And here's another thing. One thing that, Deborah, think about this too. One thing that everybody is always looking for is basically, like I said, to survive or thrive. But in what way? Well, we're looking to survive or thrive physically, emotionally, in a relationship way, or spiritually. So what category does that fall into for you and your signature product? Think about that. Is having a hook and really getting their attention the best way to cut through the clutter and noise? Yeah, I mean, if you're speaking to the right audience, right, and you know what they want, and you simplify what it is that you get them, Simplify what it is that you get them, and they will buy. But obviously, it's got to be speaking to somebody that wants what you have, right? Right. So what is the hook? So within the first few minutes, you're going to talk about what it is that they want. And so the protagonist in the first 15 to 20 minutes in a movie, what is it that is addressed, right? What keeps us focused? We're either hooked on that movie and we can't take our eyes off that screen, or we're out of there and our minds are wandering. So basically, if we can't latch onto something, and that something is the protagonist, basically they're happy and then something happens, right? And then they're not happy. They lose something almost always. So it's typical that in a really good movie that this protagonist or hero, same thing, they lose something, and now the rest of the movie is them trying to get it back. They've lost their happiness, they've lost their way, but you discover very early on what that protagonist is looking for, okay? And you're going on that journey with them, and you're hooked because you want to see if they get to their journey, or to the end of their journey, right? You want to see if they get where they want to go. So I used The Notebook as an example. I used Star Wars a little bit as an example, and then I threw in the movie What Dreams May Come, because they all have, and many movies do, they have a guide that takes them there. That's what you are, that's what your business is. You're the guide that takes them. It has the answer, has the signature program, has the formula to get them to where they want to go. So believe it or not, you're not the hero, and you shouldn't even try to be the hero. Like, we as people are heroes in our own world, right? But we're always looking for a guide to we always want something, and we're looking for the guide to take us there, the means to get us there. We're looking for that. So we really are at all times, and I mentioned this too in the video. I mentioned this because it's really important. When you understand psychology really well, it makes it easier. So if you look at the psychology of the person, and I'll make this really simple for you, we're doing one of two things at all time. We're looking to survive or thrive. So we're waking up in the morning doing that, and it kind of sounds like, okay, so that means we're looking around going, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, at all times. And that is like a built-in mechanism as humans. Think about it, like, what if we weren't built that way? What if we were not built that way? We would just die or walk into traffic, or, we would make wrong choices all the time. So we have this we are internally built to basically look to survive. So we eat when we're hungry, right? And we basically are wanting to be in survival mode, okay? Or we're ready to thrive and step it up. Where does what you do help them fall into that place? Because at all times, we're looking at marketing, we're looking at even conversations with people. We're always looking to do one of those two things, survive or thrive. And when we're looking for that, when I say we're looking for it, we're actually, all the messages that are being thrown at us now on media, social media, TV, it's been done for years on TV, but now on social media, I mean, it's very fast. We're taking in all this information, and we're actually getting a lot out of that. I won't get into that, but we're getting, the stories, okay, that people are flipping through now on Instagram. And so they've done that purposely, because we get obsessed with it. We get kind of, we get addicted to that, the feeling of flipping through. But we also, we're looking for something to grab our attention, and that almost always has to do with, does this person have what I want? Are they saying something to help us get what we want in life? And that is survival or thriving, right? And anything else is kind of white noise. So you've got to be, yes, interesting, but it's not about you being interesting as much as how is your product going to be interesting for them in terms of getting them that increase that they're looking for. We're all looking to increase our life in some way. Not our weight, but we're looking to increase in some way, shape, or form. So think about that. Somebody said something here. Deborah, I'm the one who awakens the hero within my clients. They may have never known they were in there. Exactly. That sounds cheesy, but it's not. It's actually That's what we're looking for in a movie. And here's another thing also, and why we love the movie and the transformation. It's not just because it feels good. It's also like we get addicted to Netflix because we don't have to think during that movie, and there's a lot of sensory things going on for us, and that feels good. It feels good. So we actually will get addicted to Netflix because of that. It's kind of an escape. So I've seen Netflix do this to people. I've seen it happen to my kids too, where they'll get addicted to a series, right? Because it's like, it's every single episode is leading us to the next, and we got to have more. We got to have more of that feeling and that zoning out, right? To see what happens, because we are always trying to figure out if the protagonist is going to get what they want. It's very addictive, right? Yeah, the compelling headlines is definitely something that I teach, and yes, but and there's got to be a hook in there. But what I find to be what people are really looking for are steps. So if you can, in your headline, tell them what they're going to get out of watching your video. Tell them what they're going to get out of going somewhere. And then, of course, the call to action. Not enough of that is done. You got to have a call to action. So I'm going to actually put at the top of this video a call to action, and it's going to have the link to my group to watch the content that I'm talking about, where I go a little bit deeper into it. And then, so that's my call to action, okay? I want to warm people up, so you got to do that. You got to start warming people up before they decide that they like you, before they decide that the information you're giving is valuable. So they're always trying to process that and come up with the answer for that, right? Okay, I'm going to skedaddle. Hi, David. I'm going to skedaddle and go pick up my daughter. She is closing up the bakery. And then I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I might have a glass of wine, but I'm going to finish the sales page for High Ticket Mastery. If anybody is interested in High Ticket Mastery, if you don't know who the hell I am, my name is Crystal O'Connor, and I wrote the book Unleash Your Moxie, and I did it for women. Men can read it too, of course, but it's to not just empower women, but to help them increase their self-worth internally so they can start to take their business to the next level and make more money in their life and increase their life in a big way. And my program is High Ticket Mastery. I help people increase their income. They usually start around $50,000, and I'm going to help take them to $500,000 or more, okay, or $1 million, because there is a process of getting, especially in the first year, of getting to know what your message is, getting to know what it is that you're selling and how you help others, and I help them through that process, and then I help them get to $10,000, $20,000, and $30,000 months as fast as possible by using online methods. Okay, so I help them get more clients. And so you can go to highticketmastery.com, or you can message me. If you want to go to Coach Me Crystal, CRYSTAL, coachmecrystal.com, and get on my calendar, and we can talk more about it if you're interested. Hi, Malcolm. Have a good night. I'm finishing up. Have a great Friday evening.